What is up guys, I'm Alfikane and this is CreativeHub. If you clicked on this video, you probably want to make your own animated webcam to amp up your stream, such as the one that you're seeing right now. If you want to make something like this, keep watching and by the end of the video you'll know how to make it yourself. Now before we start, we're going to be using Photoshop and After Effects for this one, but you don't really have to have Photoshop installed, but we will need a Photoshop file and you'll understand why later. These are some of the key components of this tutorial, something that you'll have to keep your eyes out for. Is that what you say? Keep your head out? Keep your head out for. And yeah, it's this expression right here, and we'll be using it a lot to make stuff loop throughout the webcam and stuff that we want to recur. These are called After Effects expressions and they will be really helpful in the tutorial. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into it. So right here is the webcam and we're currently in Photoshop. Now this whole process starts before even importing it to After Effects to animate it. You have to kind of arrange the files and know which ones you're gonna be working with. So here on Photoshop, we have our webcam here with a black background. Shout out to my homie for sending me this webcam for the tutorial, by the way. His link will be in the description if you guys want to commission him to make a webcam. So usually when a designer would send you a webcam, you would have all these files of the color correction and the little components and everything. But now you have to choose which ones you want to animate. Let me mute that real quick. The designer here, my friend, he organized the different components in different folders, so we have to go and find which ones we want to animate. For example, here we want to animate the text that says Obey Mario here, which is the logo part, and the star and the cash sign right here. Those are the ones we're going to look out for in the folder, in the layers right here, and kind of separate them from the other stuff. Let me just put that higher so you guys can see what we're working with. So here, if you click on the logo right here, you will see that it will just pop up here and it will show you exactly where that logo is. So this one is already on its own, so we don't really have to worry about separating it from a folder and putting it on its own, so we're all good on that. So next up, what we want to animate is the icons. The little icons, have them flip or do something, so we want to find those in the layer tab between all these layers, because it's kind of confusing if you have a complex webcam such as this. So here we want to try to find it, so we'll click on it and it pops up in the lower light, so I'm guessing that's some light he added onto it. So here we go in the icons tab. There we go. So here are the icons and it's color coded, so that's really easy to work with, and they're already separated and not merged with any other layers, so it will be easy to animate. So yeah, everything is ready to go and to import it into After Effects. So once we are in After Effects, you want to import everything in a certain manner so that you could work with the layers from Photoshop. So now you want to find the folder that your PSD file, the Photoshop file, is inside of, and you want to import it into After Effects. So here I have it in this folder. I would just click on it and import. Now this is a very important part that you'll have to look out for. You'll be prompted with this message that will ask you the kind of importation that you're trying to do. So if it's on footage, you want to change that to have it composition, so that you retain the layers that you were working with in Photoshop. So yeah, composition, and you want to have layer options to editable layer styles, and then you just click OK and it will import it into After Effects. And so there you go. This is a preview of the animation I already did for the webcam and the animations we're gonna be doing. Let me play that. So as you can see, the peripherals, those little accents are zooming in and out and glowing, and you can see the logo is also zooming in and out, and two icons are flipping 3D on the y-axis. So yeah, and there's a little electric effect that I will have in the description. By the way guys, everything that I'll be using, every file that I'll be using for this will be downloadable in the description for you guys. So what I just imported is called FaceTime 2, so I want to go ahead and open up that composition. So here, this is the exact thing we had in Photoshop, just imported into After Effects. Now These blue things are guides that we had in Photoshop, so we don't really need the guides, so we can go ahead and just clear everything from that. It's a bit tedious, but I'll skip through this and yeah, see you guys in a minute. Alright, so now we got rid of all the guides and we have just the face cam and ready for animation. So here are the folders that we were working with in Photoshop. When we import it into After Effects, those folders become compositions. So here the face cam is a folder and here background is also a folder. What we want to be working with is the face cam folder, so we double click on that and here we see all the layers imported from Photoshop. And now we just have to dig and find those components that we wanted to animate earlier that we found in Photoshop. So here first up is the logo that we were working with, the zoom in and out animation that we wanted to do. So here is that. To check, you can just click this little eye button, and if it disappears, that means yes, it's the logo layer. And let me just click this little button here so we can have a black background, and there we go. Easier to work with. Okay, so once you got your logo, the first thing you want to do is center the anchor point. The way that you do this is you go up to this anchor point tool, and it's up here, and when you click the anchor point tool, this middle point right here is the anchor point. You want to click on that and just drag it down to the middle of your logo. Wherever the middle of your logo is, it doesn't have to be 100% precise, but the more precise the better. So yeah, you want to drag that anchor point to the middle of your logo, wherever it is on your webcam. It's good to center your anchor point so that when you scale your logo, it will scale from the middle of your logo. So just keep that in mind, to always center your anchor point. Okay, so to make the animation that we wanted, the zooming in and out, we want to work with scale. To have the scale property pop out, you want to click on your logo layer and click S on your keyboard, and the scale would pop out. Now in After Effects, to put in keyframes, there's this little clock right here, this little, I don't know what, a stopwatch. You just click it and there you have a keyframe. That's how you set a keyframe. So then you want to go to about 1 second into the timeline, and you want to change the scale to about, let's say, 95%. So here, as you can see, the logo went down a little bit to 95%, and that is what we want for our animation. So now if you play through the composition, you can see our animation that we just created. The text will go slowly back because we scaled it down, but it will come to a complete stop, and that is not what we want. Now this is where we use that expression I talked about in the intro, the loop out expression. So the way to do that, you want to press Alt on your keyboard, and this will pop up a little place for you to type your expressions. I don't really know how to call this. So yeah, in there you just want to type in loop out, and After Effects should fill it in for you, or you can just type it all out, loop out and 2 parentheses, and then you want to do your colons. Is that called colons? Well, whatever. the text will be in the description. You could just copy and paste it into your expression place, and you want to type in ping pong. Now what this will do is, throughout the timeline, it will ping pong between the 2 keyframes that we created here, this one and this one. So the animation will be continuous without us having to create a keyframe throughout the whole timeline, which will cluster, and yeah, this is just a simpler way to work. And I'm going really into detail into all of this, so everyone, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or like experienced person in After Effects, you will still be able to follow the tutorial. So now that we got our expression, if you play the video, you can see that now it continuously scales up and down because we added a ping pong effect to the two keyframes, and yeah, so that's what we want. Now to add a little bit of oomph, I want to say, to the animation and not just be a linear scaling up and down, we can drag on these two, select the two keyframes and just press F9 on our keyboard. Now what that will do is it will ease the animation. The way to see that, for me to explain better so you can understand, this is the curve right here. So the animation is going slow here, and as the time passes right here, the animation starts to go faster, then it goes slower. So that's what eases do, and I can explain that further into another tutorial, but this is not really a tutorial about eases. So yeah, select your two keyframes, press F9 and call it a day. So if we play this, you can see now we have a smoother animation and it's more pleasing to the eye and not just linear going back and forth. You can see a variation in speed. Alright, so now that we're done with our logo animation, we want to move on to the peripherals animation, the zooming in and out of the little side triangles. That's what we're going to be working on now. Now this one is called corner light. That's what my friend called it, so I guess that's what it is. We don't really have to center the anchor point for this one because it's already centered between the four side triangles, if you understand what I mean. So here we just want to press S again for scale, and then here we press the little stopwatch, go to 1 second, and just change the scaling to about 90, I'd say. Now that's too much. We want to do, let's say, 95. Still a little too much. I think 97 would be good. So yeah, now this is a reversed keyframe. It's going out then in. I want it to go in then out. So we're just going to reverse these two keyframes. The way you do that, you select the two keyframes, you right click on there, keyframe assistant, and you just want to go to time reverse keyframes, and that way it goes from 97% to 100%, and which is a better looking animation in my opinion, but it's all a preference thing, whatever you prefer. So we want to go through the same steps again. Alt, click on the stopwatch, loop out, and then ping pong. And after you've done that, select the two keyframes and press F9 to add an ease, and make sure to save your projects. Save your project, and yeah. Alright, so now if we play the animation, we can see now it's having this smooth zoom in and out animation that we wanted. So yeah, that's good to go. Now, how did I add the glow effect to the little peripherals? Here, if you go in your effects and presets tab, you can search up glow, and you would have this glow and not these other ones, because these are plugins that I installed myself. So what you would do is just drag that to the layer of your peripheral, and there, now you have glow. Now you can tweak these settings depending on how harsh you want the glow to be. For example, the radius will have a larger radius of glow, and the intensity will be the intensity like it states. Now I don't use this glow, but you can use that one. The one that I use is called Deep Glow, and I feel like it has a more natural glow. I would leave a link to the to get this plugin in the description. So here now, if you put in Deep Glow, you can see everything other than your peripherals goes black, and we don't want that. So we want to just check the unmult, and there, now it's transparent again. And we want to go through the same process of having the glow when it goes up and then no glow when it goes down. So how you do that, you just want to go to the exposure, click on the little stopwatch, go to about 1 second in, and just turn that to 0, and boom, it will have no glow. Same thing I did with the scaling. I want to reverse the keyframes because I want it to be the other way around, glow when it goes in and not glow when it goes out. Okay, so I want to reverse keyframes, and there we go. Add ease, and then loop out, ping pong. There we go, and save. Okay, so as you can see now, if we when it zooms in it glows, then it glows out. And yeah, I didn't really render the whole thing because I don't want to take too much of your time. So now we're going to go straight to the next thing that we're going to animate, which is the icons. So we want to find the folder, the composition that the icons are in, which is right here named icons, and you want to just click on there. And here for these ones, we do want to center the anchor point because we're going to be having the icons rotate on their axis. Alright, so you want to select the layer that you're going to be rotating, or you want to select on the layer that you want to center the anchor point. For us, we're going to start with the star icon, then go up to the anchor point tool up here and just drag it to the middle of the star. Now, like I said, this doesn't have to be 100% precise, but the more precise, the better. And then same thing for the $sign icon, just center that right here. And there we go. Okay, so next up, we want to make both of these layers 3D. Now, how do you do that? Is this little cube icon here. You just want to check it for both. And now congratulations, you have two 3D layers. Okay, so how will we make it rotate? Just select both of the layers, press R on your keyboard, and this will show the rotation properties of your layers. We will be working with the Y rotation only because we're making it flip on its axis. So yeah, it's a preference thing. If you want it to flip on the Z or X axis, that's your choice. So I want to go to about 4:15 and check that and check that, same thing, and then go to about 5:15, and here now is when we're gonna make it rotate. I want to press 1 on the star icon. That means it will rotate 360 degrees. So here, let me explain a little bit. 360 of this equals to 1 full rotation. That's how After Effects works. Let me Control Z that because we don't want that. Yeah, so you have a basic idea of how that works. We want to do the same thing for the other one, but instead of 1, we're going to do -1. That way it will have a dynamic effect. One will be rotating this way and the other one will be rotating this way. And then same thing, we want to add some ease to it. This one we don't have to loop because we don't want it to keep rotating, which will be a little distracting. So there, that animation looks pretty nice. We could work with that. And that's about it for the icons. So now after you're done with that, you just want to X that out and we can go back to the main thing right here, the main webcam. The last thing we're gonna add is the electric effects that you guys saw. The link will be to download in the description. So what you want to do is just import those into After Effects, these two electric effects, and just drag them onto your timeline. And drag, let me choose this tool, and then drag them to wherever you want the electric effect to be. In my case, I want it to be in the middle of the animation. So here you'll see that same thing, there's like a background on it, it's not transparent. So how would you work with it? Now that's really easy. There's an effect called color key. That's what we'll be using to remove the background. Color key. Okay, then you just want to drag that onto the layer, and here on the color key, this color is the color that it will currently be removing from your footage. So we want to take the little pin drop thing right there and just select the black, or you can just click the color and select black. And color tolerance, you just want to turn that up until you have your desired removal of that color. So I want to bring that up pretty steep to 255, and then edge feather to add a little feather to the edge. So I want to bring that up to about 4. Looks about good. Alright, so now that you removed your black background from this one, you just want to you can copy the settings of that that you just did and paste it into the other effect. And there, now you remove the background for both of the effects, but as you can tell, you lose a little bit of that glow when you're taking off the background. So we just go ahead and add that with the same effect that we used for the other ones, called Deep Glow. Now I'm using Deep Glow, but you guys can still use the default glow that's in the software, but like I said, I just don't like using that one, so yeah, I use Deep Glow. So unmult, and then copy that and put it in the second layer too, and boom, now we have our electric effects. Now it's too big, so we want to make them a little small. You select both layers, you press S on your keyboard, and the scale properties will pop up, and you just want to scale that down to your desired scale. This looks about right, and just drag it right there, maybe 15, just a little smaller. We don't want it too distracting from the actual video that's going to be playing in that webcam. So yeah, now I'm just going to drag this one out a little bit. Now all of this really depends on you, where you want the placement and what animation you want to play first. In my case, this looks about right. And yeah, that's about it. Now you got your webcam animation with the electric effect. Now to preview it again, you can see we made everything. And if you guys have any questions or any concerns, or you're stuck somewhere, you can join my Discord server and or send me a message on Twitter, and I'll do my best to help you out with that. Now I made a webcam tutorial before, and people were asking how to export it with the transparent background. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to do that quickly. So before you go to the exporting process, you want to make sure that this little icon here, toggle transparency grid, is checked, so you know that if the background is transparent or not. In our case, the background is black, that means it's not transparent. So we want to find our background layers and just turn those off. And now we have a transparent background and it's ready to be exported. Alright, so after you have your checkerboard background and you're sure everything is transparent, you just want to go up to composition and add to render queue. And once it's in render queue, you want to select your output module, and you want to go to format and make sure it's either AVI or QuickTime. Those are the two that supports background transparency. So in my case, I prefer to do it in QuickTime. Then here is the important part. You want to make sure in channels it says RGB plus alpha. Format options, you could change it, or you could just leave it as is. It could either say animation right there under here, or Apple ProRes 444444444444. Yeah, so you could, if you want to change it, you could just change it here, but make sure it's Apple ProRes 44444. That is the one that supports transparency, either that or animation. So output audio, I don't know if your webcam has audio or not, but in this case off because no audio. And then you just want to export it to wherever you're working, whatever folder you want to export it to. So in this case, let's call it electric webcam, and boom, and you want to hit render. And now yeah, you just want to let your webcam render, and it will render, and you'll have your webcam in MOV file with a transparent background ready to use in Streamlabs or OBS, whatever you use. There is also a way to export it in WebM format, which is more practical for streamers, and I will leave a link in the description to download the WebM codec for you to export in those. If you have any issues exporting in WebM, you could just send me a DM on Twitter or something, and I'll help you out with that. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Maybe you learned a few things, picked up a new skill in After Effects. I'll be doing a lot more tutorials on this channel. If you guys enjoy that, please leave a like, subscribe, and this has been Alfikane. Peace out.
hard for me to say.